SwoleBenji here. Today I wanted to talk about all of the things in the game that you should not be doing because they are either inefficient, they are not reliable, or one little mess up can really screw your character or cost you a lot of silver. And there's a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. First up is silver making methods. There are a lot of silver making methods out there, but anything that involves the usage of an API, especially because private APIs that are far more efficient and faster exist. If you use a public API for anything involving refining, trading, crafting, selling, flipping, enchanting, gambling, all of those things will be beaten by the private APIs, the private discords using these APIs, and the Discord communities that are sharing all of this API information with each other, as well as major corporate guilds. So what I'm saying is you should not try to flip on the auction house. Yes, it works, but there's also more to it than just going against an API and losing against bots. One of the reasons I don't recommend auction house flipping is because you are not actually progressing your character one bit. You're not gaining any fame. Your character is not skilling up in any kind of profession or crafting or anything like that. Your character is just simply making maybe a little bit more money than you would doing a dungeon, but you're not getting any fame. And sure, if you have these private APIs, you can flip all day and night with 5 active accounts and 5 active windows running all on different IP addresses, and you'll be raking in millions an hour. Yeah, sure, but you're not that guy. I'm not that guy. I don't have access to those APIs. I don't have access to 5 virtual machines or 5 different cell phone providers, all with different IP addresses, all at every single market in the game, constantly having an add-on that tells you what exactly to buy and what exactly to sell at what certain time. That is not for us. That's not for you, my casual, normal viewer. Maybe there's a few viewers out there that do this kind of thing, but it does not advance or progress your character. It only makes you silver, and like I said, unless you have those tools, you're not going to be doing it efficiently enough to even bother with. Because there are so many players in the game, things like enchanting, gambling, and all that other kind of stuff that you can buy one thing and then turn it into another and flip it. Yeah, you'll make a little handful of silver, that's fine. Most of the time, someone will beat you to it. Same goes for the black market. Sure, you can lug a whole bunch of stuff to the black market. It's a huge risk. You'll get ganked by Discord bots that will scout you out. It's honestly just not worth doing. And if you're like me, you'll be flipping one-handed daggers in the black market, and suddenly you accidentally misread one of the listings, which is a dual dagger. And when you type dagger in the search, it shows up all the same, and then you have to sit on that one 7.3 dagger for 2 months until the black market price rises high enough for you to sell it, which is a huge cash loss for the now. I don't recommend it. Don't bother doing it. There are botters and there are API abusers that do this day after day on multiple accounts. You cannot beat them. Next up is ratting tier 8 static chests in dungeons. If you go to a static area, there are these chests on the ground guarded by very strong mobs. There was a video that came out showing that it makes about 4 million silver an hour, but here's the thing. It takes 8.3, and unless you're in a guild that controls a tier 8 territory with a static dungeon, and you're in that guild, and other people aren't also doing it in the dead of night, which they always are, you're not only going to be killed in your 8.3 gear, you're never ever going to farm enough chests to even make up for that gear loss. You would have to break like 80-something chests, and I timed it. They take 24 minutes to respawn, so have fun with that. Next up is Arcane Essence farming. I have tried this on tons of new characters to see if it's faster than doing the arenas or just skipping straight to dungeons, and it is not for a few reasons. Well, it's a constant ganker zone. A lot of YouTubers won't tell you this, but that is a very good hot spot for killing newbies. If I want to go practice ganking a gatherer or another player, that's the place I go. That is where the highest concentration of low fame newbies exist, is in the Arcane Essence farming area. But another gripe that I have, even if you're like me with a built character that can wear higher tier gear and survive out there, is that the Arcane Essence almost never sells. It takes a very long time for that stuff to sell, and you have to constantly undercut other players. So unless you're running your 3-day freemium, your free premium, a new character won't be able to afford all the constant undercutting, nor will they have the market knowledge to be able to do split undercuts, which is where you only list a small stack at a time and you undercut with a fresh stack instead of your previous stack. So don't do Arcane Essence farming. You're going to get ganked, you're going to lose your gear, and it's going to take days for you to sell whatever you farm, and it's not even that much. Even if you get lucky with tier 7 and tier 8 drops, which can take a month to sell, you're still not going to make that much as if you were doing anything else. And another gripe is that, yeah, it advances your character, you are leveling as you kill the ghosts, but you're not getting that much fame out of it. You're barely getting any fame at all. It's just not worth your time at all. It's just a complete waste of time. I wish they would put something else in the game to farm the Arcane Essences, because I'm a potion crafter and I use the Arcane Essences. I'm the guy that buys the damn shit. So trust me when I tell you, it never sells. Next up is Heart Transports. Okay, so Heart Transports, a lot of people do these in a big, massive Zerg where there's like hundreds of people running back and forth, transporting hearts. Now, I am posting this in the past. This is March 15th for me. For you, it's probably the end of March. So for all I know, the future, the hearts might be like the big thing. They might be worth hundreds of thousands, and I could be completely wrong with this. So, but I doubt it. I don't really think so. With how easy it is to get faction points in the new update, I really doubt hearts are worth anything at all in the future. So, Heart Transports, you get a bunch of hearts, and you spend like 10 to 15 minutes transporting it back and forth, and you make a couple 100,000. My main gripe with this is that if you're doing it solo, it's super dangerous, and there are Discord scouting bots, that is, people in yellow zones that are just naked standing around. If they detect, and they can detect with their ESPs from a very far range away, if you're doing a heart transport, and they will see, it will notify their Discord team, the bot will automatically ping on Discord, hey, there's this guy, he's headed this direction, here's his character name. And then a gank squad will rally up in a town nearby and come kill you and take your hearts. So I don't recommend it. And sure, that doesn't always happen, but it happens more than it should. If there wasn't an API and bots and hacks in this game, it wouldn't happen hardly ever. But my other gripe about heart transports, is that you're not getting anything out of it other than a slight bit of silver. You're risking millions to make a few 100,000, and you're not getting any faction points, you're not getting any fame, you're not getting better at the game. You might as well go do tier 8 dungeons if you want to risk that damn much. Like, go put on a tier 8 set and go farm dungeons if you want to risk that much. And the returns are way better, both in fame and in silver. There's absolutely no reason to do a heart transport. They only exist in the game assuming that there was a fresh server where there's not that many hearts and it's the only way to generate a heart, okay? Especially if there's no faction content, but it's ancient, okay? There's no reason to do it. Guilds do it so that they can stockpile their guild banks, and that's really the only reason you see these giant, massive Zerg piles doing it. So just don't do heart transports. They're not worth your time. They're not worth the money. They're not worth the risk, and you don't get your character doesn't get stronger by doing it. Alright, risky PvP. You see a lot of video thumbnails that are like, oh, you can make 10 million in 10 minutes, just put on a claw set and go kill people, dude. It's so easy. Here's a bunch of cherry-picked clips of me doing it, right? And here's the honest truth. Most of the time, if you gank anyone in a red zone, by the time you even begin to start looting whoever you killed, there's like 10 blues that ride up and kill you. That's just how it is. It's called blue ganking. You ride around in a group of blues, and you in any zone where there are flagged players, and you just hunt them down, and you get scraps for it. You get literal scraps. Now, sometimes you'll get amazingly lucky and you'll catch a whale or a newbie in like full 8-3 farming a group dungeon solo while faction flag. Now, this is, again, an old thing, but used to you would just go in and kill him and take his loot. Most likely now, no one's going to be farming faction flag in a red zone anymore because it's safe in the yellows. So it can happen. You can just hit a freaking jackpot and just find somebody that doesn't know what the hell they're doing with all the best crap in the game, delete them with a PvP build and take all their stuff and make out like crazy. But most of the time it won't happen. The amount of time that you spend traveling around and trying to PvP is time better spent faming up and farming other methods. I just don't recommend it. But if it's the only reason you play the game, like if you don't have fun doing anything else, then by all means go ahead and do it. But if you're a new player trying to build up your net worth, you shouldn't be doing it. Alright, so red and black zone gathering, okay? I've tried this countless times across every zone in the game, across different gathering professions, and if you gather in red and black zones, you can sometimes make a profit, yes. But most of the time, just doing it in yellow zones usually nets more per hour, even at like max gear and max spec. Unless you are in a guild that owns the black zone that you're trying to gather in, you will most likely have to spend a lot of time running away from catch and ganker groups. And in the red zones, most of the resources are just completely depleted at all hours of the day. Heck, even bots have moved into the red zones, man. It's really bad out there. Like, gathering used to be quite good. I don't even recommend gathering in yellows anymore because of all the bots and all the ESP hacks, but hey, if you're one of those people, then hey, it's still profitable, but for me, honestly, just running dungeons in the dead hours of the night brings me a lot more silver and gets my character stronger than doing gathering, and I'm maxed in gathering, so I don't really have a reason to gather anymore, to be honest, because yeah, it makes me money, but I can't progress in gathering anymore because I'm maxed out, so. And with that, let's talk about refining as well. When you refine, you take stuff that you've gathered and make it into a product that can be used for crafting, right? And if you're not refining in the proper refining town, so like if I chop lumber, I have to travel all the way to Fort Sterling to refine it to get that refining bonus, or in a Fort Sterling black zone to get an even more bonus. And that takes a lot of time. Refining is really easy to max. You can max out refining in the first month of playing the game if you gather enough. And once you have it maxed out, you're not progressing your character by refining anymore, and sometimes the benches, the public ones, they aren't a good price, so sometimes you're refining at a loss, so it's not always recommended, but sometimes when the market swings correctly, it is profitable. I will say that when Corrupted Dungeons, that patch came out, that refining was no longer profitable anywhere for quite a while, and anytime there's a huge surge of players in the game, or there's a lot of bots running around unchecked, refining just becomes not profitable at all. So I don't recommend it. That's why I don't really talk about it. Now, Avalonian roads, okay, Avalonian static dungeons, Avalonian chests, all that Avalonian stuff, you can just basically forget it, okay? Not only is Avalonian roads heavily controlled by guilds, and don't listen to the devs, they lied. They said that the Avalonian roads were for small-scale PvP and for small guilds. No, all the big guilds were like, hey, that's mine, Gibbs me that. And so they just spend an hour queuing their entire frickin' guild into a two-man portal and just flooding the zone. And the Avalonian roads are just a bunch of choke points, a bunch of just death canals. A lot of like zones that are controlled by people, if they see you and they see that you're in like a dungeon set, they're not going to kill you. They're going to let you go do your dungeons, and they're going to make a note of it. And once you're done doing your dungeons and you're on your way out, they're going to come kill you and take your 4 to 5 million of loot that you got in the last hour and a half from doing the dungeons. Yeah, you get to keep the fame, but they basically just made you do all the work and then they take all your loot by killing you, because the entire Avalonian roads, they're all choke points. Everyone's running around in catch gear, everyone's on Discord hollering at each other, hey, we got a fresh one in our zone, boys, let's get them. And even like farming Avalonian chests, yeah, if you go really deep into the Avalonian roads, you can maybe find some chests that aren't constantly on rotation and being farmed by guilds, which is very rare, but you have to get that all the way back home. And I don't know about you, but I don't use a Discord cheating bot to tell me which roads connect to what. A lot of people will use those Avalonian road Discord bots so they can see which road is the fastest way to get to Red Tree or other tier 8 zones very quickly. I don't do that because I don't like using third-party programs in my video games, unless it's for trolling reasons, but just for regular play, no thanks. Anyway, Avalonian roads, you'll get you killed. It's just a huge waste of time. It's not for solo players. If you have some buddies and you want to go hunt around Avalonian roads, go for it, but I've never had luck with it. Yeah, I've gotten lots of worth of silver, but I've never made it home with any of it ever, so I just don't recommend it to anyone. And I play in the dead hours of the night, and I play with years of experience in this game, so a lot of people complain that they can't even kill like a tier 4 boss without being down and suffering a repair bill, so why would I recommend an Avalonian road to those viewers, okay? If you want, go ahead and try it, lose your gear sets like I did, and I'll see you in the comments. Alright, so next up is transferring, muling, transporting. If you have a mammoth, then you already have the API tools and you already know how to transport for profit. But if not, if you're just using like an ox, then you could lose out. It's very slow silver. It's guaranteed silver, sure. It's a decent amount of silver if you do it. You're just not progressing your character, and honestly, it's just not worth the time to do it. I don't feel like new players or even experienced players should be wasting their time transporting goods from one city to another unless there is just a massive, dire shortage and it's in the dead of night and a lot of mammoth transports aren't out doing runs. Because let's say you do the math and you see that Limhurst is short on cloth and you decide to go from Bridgewatch to Limhurst and bring thousands and thousands of cloth, right? So unfortunately, by the time you got there was a mammoth transport that just arrived and just massively filled up the market, and you're forced to sell it at an undercut or wait for all of the mammoth transports, tens of thousands of goods to sell, so you're just out. Now, crafting is a big one, okay? I'm just going to say, this isn't a crafting guide, but the reason you're not profiting with crafting is because, to craft a crossbow, you need wood, you need metal, and, to craft the crossbow, right? So you need a character that uses their focus to focus refine the wood in Fort Sterling and then transport it to Bridgewatch. Then you need a character to focus refine the metal in Thetford, which is really far away, and then transport it to Bridgewatch. Then you need your third character to focus craft the crossbows at Bridgewatch, then transport it either to Caerleon or to Limhurst or Fort Sterling to sell the crossbows for maximum profit. And even if you do all that, if you aren't crafting at a cheap station with associates fees or at a very low fee, or you're not doing all of the above with your focus refining and crafting in a black zone in that specific town's region, you're still not profiting. Usually the market averages are based on people doing this for the big wholesale, people that craft thousands of crossbows a day doing this. And you're not one of them. You're small time. You're not the big, bread factory. You're just the small guy with an oven baking bread, okay? You're not going to profit nearly as much, and the time you spend doing it just isn't worth it unless you are making that your goal in the game to craft. So whenever I craft poison potions, I had up to 9 characters doing it. I had 6 watering people that watered plants, and then 3 potion brewers. But even I was struggling because my potion brewers weren't maxed out on all the other brewing specialties, which meant they weren't crafting nearly as good. But potions are a whole different ballgame compared to crafting a crossbow, because crossbows are heavily reliant on the tier and the quality of the crossbow. So if you're crafting tier 8.3 masterpieces, yeah, you're going to be making big bank, but that takes so much money, so much grind. You would have to swipe tens of thousands of dollars worth of gold through credit cards to be able to even upkeep that for a month or two. And there's entire guilds out there that are dedicated to this whole craft and have it on lockdown. If you try to enter the Swiftclaw breeding market at this stage of the game, you'll never ever be able to compete with the big boys that have been doing it since 2017. You just simply will never catch up to them. You will never have the net worth, the islands, the power. Even if you spent $50,000 on gold through the cash shop, you're still not going to be able to do it. I don't recommend it. I'm not saying don't ever craft. I'm just saying don't try to make crafting your big in-game unless you are going really, really, really big, and that is your main focus, because all of your time will be spent traveling. The biggest chef in the game makes 80 million silver a week, which to me that's an okay amount. It's more than I make, but it's not worth it, okay? Because he spends 12 to 14 hours a day transporting all over the world with mammoths, multi-boxing, buying this and selling this in different parts of the town, crafting it with focus on all these different alts, and it's just a huge fucking pain in the ass for a game that's meant to log in and shoot someone with a crossbow and laugh at them that they died in 2 hits. That's the game that I play. I don't play the big freaking transport a bunch of freaking salads across the world and sell your salads to the world, okay? It's just not the game that I play, and it's not going to be the game that you should play, because it's not going to make you big money unless you invest a good 1 or 2 years in several alts. Alright, RMT, or real money trading, okay? So real money trading is when you go to a website that isn't Albion Online, it isn't Steam, and a little shady website, and you pay real money for silver, okay? I think right now the market is 70 cents to $1 is 1 to 2 million in-game silver, which, hey, that sounds like a good deal if you have US American currency, right? It's not. SBI tracks all of that crap. No matter how these RMTers try to hide their sales, it's all tracked. You're going to get banned. Don't risk your account for some silver that you can just play the game and get, okay? Now, if you have a bunch of friends that play, and you're in a big guild, and, someone within the guild who isn't an RMTer, like maybe one of your friends plays and he's super rich, and he kind of talks to you in Discord, he's like, hey man, you want 10 million silver? Just give me $5, bro. And that won't be tracked. You can just be like, hey, here's my guild donation, bro, and you just like give it to the officer that's buying it from you. You know, like there's ways around it if you want to sell and buy, but don't go to those shady websites. Even websites like playerauctions.com. Again, I'm not sponsored. I don't sponsor or endorse any of these websites, but if you went to a website like playerauctions.com, which has been around for, I don't know, 12 or more years, it's basically like eBay but for video game currency, and you use that, you'll still get banned because if those guys don't give a shit about your account. Those guys, that's their careers. They log in with their 30 automated bots that run through the tutorial zone, harvesting everything they can. They do the starter quests on their bots. They gather on their bots, and they sell what they can. Maybe they speed hack and kill people. Is that still a thing in the future? Right now, it's a huge craze. That's all that's been being talked about on Reddit. So just don't RMT. Don't buy from RMT sites. If you want, just buy gold from Albion's actual in-game store. And I don't like to say to support SBI because they mute people and they stifle freedom of speech. But, I mean, it's better than getting your account banned, okay? And also with that said, don't speed hack to kill people. Yes, I know the speed hackers have accumulated 224 billion in loot over the last month alone. It's crazy how much they've been killing. But just don't hack. And if you've been listening this long, I'll go ahead and tell you what I think is a good method, which I have yet to be able to beat, okay? Flash the Baron put out a video for new players where he's like, just go do corrupted dungeons, bro. And as long as you're not a shitter, as long as you're okay at the game, and as long as you're not going all in with your gear set, you just use 4.2 and you do Stalker Corrupted Dungeons. And yeah, you'll die every once in a while, but most of the time you'll make more back than what you lose. And as far as speedrunning to premium, I've been trying for 4 months to beat that. And that is still the fastest method to this day. I have yet to beat it. I've tried everything to try to beat his time, and I still can't do it. So just go do that if you want to make money. Anyway, I'm SwoleBenji. Thanks for watching. Be a bro and stay swole. I don't know how synced up this will be to the background footage I have, but as always, make sure you turn your shopping cart, hit subscribe. You better subscribe. Come check out the Discord, do the questionnaire, become a Chad today. I'll see you in the next one. You guys are epic. By the way, his video name is New Player's In-Depth Guide to Get Rich Quick Solo. New Player to Millionaire Speedrun 2020. That is the name of the video that I was just talking about. Go give it a watch. I don't even know if the dude is still alive. He hasn't posted in quite a while. So, yeah. Now, I do have a theory that I am going to try, and I'm just trying to, make sure that there's no dead air in this video. But I do have a theory. I'm going to try tier 4.1 and 4.2 maps, and just chain run those in the blue zones where there's no action in the faction flagging, and just see how much it makes. Maybe I'll do like 100 maps. I'll do it Big Lips McGee style. Go check out Big Lips McGee if you haven't. He's probably one of my favorite Albion YouTubers. He's got like 2,000 or 3,000 subs. I don't know how much he's got, but he needs way more subs for the content he makes. That dude is an absolute Chad. Alright, and thanks for listening, thanks for watching. I'm going to try to end this right now. Yeehaw! Nope, that was too soon. I got to end it in just a few more seconds so it all lines up really nice. So now I did a truncate silence, and now I don't have... I'll just keep it in, who cares? No one watches the end. And if you do, you should leave a comment. If you leave a comment and you hit the like button, it's a combo! You should do it, and then let me know that you did it because algorithm, yeehaw, woohoo! 2 more seconds, yeah man, we're getting there, woo!